This is AI Marketing Experts, where bold marketers and next-gen AI collide. Each week, join us as we decode trends, test tools, and share real wins from the AI-powered front lines. No fluff, no hype, just straight talk and smarter marketing. Tap subscribe, and let's geek out on AI.
All right. We have a lot of things that have been happening this week in the AI industry. And the whole purpose of this conversation that we're going to have with our AI experts is to basically let's talk about AI. What's been going on in the past week? Last week we talked about all sorts of tips. We're constantly in learning mode, I think, all of us. So let's either share a tip or what's the news in the AI industry? What has everybody heard?
Anyways, thanks for jumping on the podcast, everybody. John Clendenning, Carpet Cleaning Marketing Masters. Yeah, we work with the obviously carpet cleaners home cleaning niche, and it's like, what the heck's a carpet cleaner going to need AI for, and that kind of thing, and what's happening in the agency world around AI, and those are all those things. But it's such a fast moving thing. It's hard to keep up. There's new platforms, new tools coming out. I think Jen, you recommended one in one of our messenger groups the other day. I have never even heard of that one. I'm sure you can talk a little bit about that when we get there. But yeah, I've just found that that with every AI tool competing against each other, Brad, you've mentioned that Gemini is good, and it's not only good, it's great. It's gotten better, and it seems like everybody's trying to outdo the other one so much that yeah, if you kind of tap into a few of these tools and test something on one and test something on the other. We always say start with one. Just don't get overwhelmed. We talked about that last week as a tip. Start with one. Don't try and do everything. But once you kind of expand it a little bit, whatever you're doing, take the exact same question. Try it in Gemini, right? Try it out in maybe Perplexity, just the free plan, and see if you get a different answer and a different way of it thinking through the problem that you're asking it. And I think everybody who does that will notice the changes in AI week over week. You can go into X and go to Grok at the bottom, or down, or go to Grok directly, and just ask it questions and see the depth of answers that come from there, because its knowledge base is so much different. So there's been lots of changes, but I think none of them really stand out to me as something that I've kind of went, oh, that's so much better than that one. It's just I find that I'm wiggling through different tools in different ways as they keep updating and modifying and changing. So,
all right, yeah, I like that. Anybody else? Any news that has come around in the AI industry just in the past 7 days since we talked last?
I'll build on what John was saying regarding even as you go through the different tools, see if your voice changes. So again, if you ask the basic question, but if you have trained it to be your voice or your company's brand voice, I mean, we have Voice Maximizer and Brand Maximizer. It makes a huge difference. And I think that's the other element, is not only trying your different tools, but dropping your, what we call snippet codes of your own voice into those models to see how it changes the verbiage and changes the flow of the answers, especially if you're trying to put it out there with your customer relations.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll piggyback off of that one. This is Brad from America's Best Shops, and we work closely with vehicle repair shops to drive new business for them and make their online presence amazing. So just touching on what John and Laura shared is literally, I mean, because I'm actively researching AI stuff on a constant basis, it almost seems crazy that after the end of the day of looking at a computer screen, I'm then on my tablet looking at new stuff to continue to expand my education. But, YouTube is a very good resource for me, because I can go and I can look at stuff that the people I follow share, because they're the ones that are taking the time to tell me what's going on with Gemini 2.5 and VO and all these different things that I don't have enough hours in the day to research it all. But here's a little tip if you don't already know this. I've had YouTube Premium for well over 10 years, and it's not very expensive. And the cool thing about what I do use with that is, and I'm pretty sure it's just with Premium, is A, I don't get any ads on YouTube, but B, I can go to a video that I want to check out about the latest and greatest whatever. In this case, we're talking about AI. And a lot of times, the title is like, it's this insane thing and it's going to be the next game changer. And you've got to watch this video. Well, there's a little feature in there. And probably about 90% of the videos you can do it on. And you just hit the little button that says ask. And then from there, you can hit another little button that'll say summarize this video. And then boom, AI will give you a summary of that whole video, whether it's 10 minutes long or an hour long. And I can skim through that in just a quick minute and say, oh, I'm going to watch this video. This is perfect. Or, nope, I don't need that. So that's helpful for me. I don't know that it's brand new, but it's super helpful if you're trying to learn new things about AI or anything for that matter.
That's a great tip. I love that one.
Yeah. Thanks. That's amazing. I have premium for YouTube, and I've never used the ask button. It didn't even cross my mind until I'm looking at it right now. Now I see it. So thanks for sharing that, Brad.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just piggyback on that. Is that there's a Chrome extension that you can install called Glasp that can do the exact same thing. You don't necessarily have to have premium for that, but you just hook it up to your ChatGPT, right? What I like to do, there's a button there to download the transcript. And so I bypass the videos altogether. I literally just download the transcript, upload it into ChatGPT and say, summarize this for me and provide the steps that I need to know for this specific item. So anyways, it's kind of piggybacking on yours. I love that idea though of, let's summarize this instead of having to watch through all of these videos.
And I'll even go one more and just give another option is if you're already paying, because I do not pay for YouTube Premium, but because of ChatGPT, if you have Plus or a paid account, you can use Task. And if you can set it up, and if you have different YouTube channels that you find are most valuable, instead of going out there and maybe squirreling down different paths, you can basically ask it as a daily task to go and check those channels to see if there's a new video out there, ask it to summarize it. And when it comes in, then it's just sitting on your computer. You can ask for it to be there at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever time you want. And therefore you have the summary and you're not going down the YouTube watching channel and taking more of your time. So that's just one more option of getting your information, summarizing it, moving forward.
Love that.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
I definitely like
the HARPA Chrome extension for similar, whether it's with YouTube or other pages that can really help with that.
And what extension is that, Jen?
It's HARPA AI.
Oh, yes. Okay. Forget. Thank you for just restating that.
Speaking of making things easier, Jen, tell us a little bit about Genspark. I can't believe I didn't remember that name. That was the one that you've shared in the group. Just obviously something you've just stumbled across recently, but I think it might dovetail into what we're talking about today is that, just another AI that's come out on the market that makes spreadsheets, I believe in this case, easier or something.
Yeah. So Genspark, it's one of those, I have not played with it enough to really be able to tell you everything about it, or even close to a lot about it. But what came out just really recently is that it now works with Google Sheets. And so directly. And so you can actually, from what I understand, have it working in your Google Sheets rather than relying on maybe Gemini or something like that. So I still feel like I need to look more into Genspark, but overall, to me, it just looks, I don't know. I always love these other tools to see what is it that they do that's different than, all the others. And sometimes the answer is nothing. I mean, in a meaningful way. But I don't know, Genspark, it just looks like something that we should be paying attention to.
What's the pricing on that? Do you know? Just curious. I'm on their website, but I don't see, it just went directly into the app. Kind of is what it looks like here.
I have only been using the free version, so I don't know.
Because my wife literally this morning said, I am in spreadsheet hell. Please help. So this is going to help.
Yeah. Because what I've been doing, the reason why I was really intrigued by that was, again, I spent a lot of time going, okay, I've gone down rabbit holes to figure out VLOOKUP and pivot tables and formulas and kind of learned Excel. And I know, Brad, we've had conversations over the years, dude, I got to learn better Excel and stuff like that. Well, no, you don't anymore, right? Because I would just grab it and go, I'd go into ChatGPT and I go, I got this column, take a screenshot. So here's a tip for everybody. Again, watch it. Take a screenshot and go, I need this and this to do something over here. And ChatGPT would give it to you, because I don't find that the native Gemini help inside Sheets yet works well enough to actually fully do that. But ChatGPT will give you, go back here, do this, put this formula in here, do that. And then, if it comes up with an error or doesn't have the right formula, you just tell it and it goes, oh yeah, that makes sense. And it fixes it. But you're going back and forth. And that's where I noticed that just on a basic level, it seems like Genspark actually, it lives in there, but better than Gemini. I'm sure Gemini is going to get better, where you can just talk to it, tell it what you want, and boom, it builds the spreadsheet. But right now it doesn't. It's sort of just trying to be almost like a better help desk, where this looks like a little bit more like you don't have to be a sheet genius anymore at all. It's just like, what do you want to do? And, sort of like Manus we talked about before, where you just tell it what to do and it goes and thinks it out and figures it out and comes back with a plan in place and then puts the plan in place and does it. So it's more of that AI agent than just ask me a question, I'll give you an answer tool. So
yeah. And speaking of Manus, I've been using it quite a bit lately. I went ahead and got a paid version of that and have been having it do stuff. It's kind of hit or miss, just throwing that out there on, it'll say that it works, whatever that it creates or does, kind of a thing. And then you go to put it in action. It's like, nope, it didn't work. Sorry. So I had it create a Chrome extension that would spider a website and bring back a sitemap for me. Right. And it looked like it worked until you actually tried it. And so it's kind of failed out on errors on that. But with that, I have learned that, man, it really eats up your credits like that, that one app blew through like 5,000 credits, so, I'm waiting until next month to have it fix its errors, so.
Yeah, I went through 8,000 credits and messaged them the same thing. I 8,000 credits to create a survey because it just had to reiterate. And every time then it runs into a blockage of, like it says, I've gone to the limit of this chat. Or thread. I have to start again. And that takes 2,000 credits to move that into the next. Right. So there seems to be a sort of like it runs into a memory limit and then has to start all over and summarize. And I think at that moment it loses a bit. So yeah, it's still a work in progress, but it's $39 a month. It might be worth building stuff out. But hey, like put that out there, like Manus and stuff like that. So we're, again, people listening to this, roofers and ag people and all that kind of stuff. What would they use a tool like Manus for? Like on a sales thing, if we want to talk about sales, would there be a price calculator on their website is an option or something like that, where it's, you don't have to be a coder. Like what are some of the ideas that people could use a code building, platform building tool like that, where you don't have to be a coder? You have to go back and forth and go, it didn't work, try again. And you got to get frustrated like we did. You got to pay some credits. But what could they actually build that would help?
Well, for roofers, right? And this was a conversation I had yesterday with a potential client. On their current website, they had someone build out this thing. And it's basically, it goes and checks the recent storms in the area, right? And you as a consumer or whatever homeowner can go to that website, put in your address, and it'll tell you whether you had hail at your residence or not, and then give you a quote based off of that. Right. And it's, I think he said it was a good, better, best scenario for the quote, that it pulled open, your actual house and the dimensions and so forth, inside of a satellite. So that's kind of a cool thing. And I don't know if Manus honestly can handle something like that. It would probably eat through about 30,000 credits to figure that out. It might be worth it, but there's probably better tools on the market to be able to build something like that. Or honestly,
still cheaper than $150 an hour coding programmer, like 100%. A Python programmer, right? So
yeah.
Well, to take a step back, I think all this is super helpful so far. I'm like taking notes as we speak. I'm glad we're recording it, but I think I touched on it briefly last week. When it comes to spreadsheets, for example, I can't remember precisely what is it, the Google tool that you can have it like record your screen or give it control of your screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I used that, and I can't remember, was it called Deep Research or it's called something of that nature. I don't have it off the top of my head, but literally I connected it to my screen. I showed it the spreadsheet that I was working on, and certainly you're not going to want to be logged into your bank account or something, but because it's looking at your screen, and it walked me through. It says, "Do you want me to show you how to do this advanced spreadsheet formula, or do you want us to do it for you?" And I'm like,
Yeah, that's right.
I would go either one. I'd say, "Okay, show me." Okay, and then I would do it, and it was amazing. So literally, in that respect, I mean, there's other spreadsheet AI tools I've used, and this one broke a little bit. It wasn't foolproof. It was a month ago or so. But just think about that. What they're saying is that this thing is advancing so fast, and I'm sure there's other iterations of it with different platforms. But it's going to be able to literally walk you through any sort of a software issue or a complicated thing like this. Like I said, I'm not a spreadsheet guy, but I was able to get this advanced thing done quickly, and it was free. So it's changing fast. It's changing.
So a tool like that, if you think our business owners that we work with, and if they have sheets of data that like we thought, like, if you want to find fraud in your credit card, upload your credit card statements or put them into, download it from QuickBooks into a spreadsheet or whatever, and then have it go through and find anomalies, or download your latest sales reports and how are we doing on repeats and referrals and this kind of stuff, and give it that data to come up with, hey, your repeat client percentage at your auto shop, at your carpet cleaning company or whatever. Probably not the same as a roofer, but maybe Jen with the med spas. Yeah, your actual repeat is trending down over the last 6 months, or your add-on product sales by this rep or that. Like, it's all the good data we know, and some businesses are really, really good at it and always have been. But the average person, the other 90%, are so busy running the business and the chief bottle washer and everything, that if you can either hire somebody to help you build it out or spend a little bit of time and build it out, you can create those reporting tools and agents where you just take a spreadsheet or a PDF report or a bunch of them, put it in, and have like a custom GPT, or at least a really great prompt that you use regularly, ask the questions and make better business decisions than the rest of your marketplace is making right now. And that's a first mover advantage until everybody catches up.
Sure.
Yeah.
So going back, Brad, real quick, do you remember the name of that tool that you were talking about there?
I can look it up while we're on the call.
Okay. Just curious, because I want to write that down in my notes on that,
Me too.
because that's pretty cool.
I'll have it for you.
Okay. All right. So as far as news goes, I know that just in this past week, OpenAI, right, announced that they weren't going to go public, right? That they were going to stay a nonprofit. What do y'all think about that? Any thoughts?
I don't think they're a nonprofit. I think Elon nailed them on that one quite a while ago, going, I thought a nonprofit shouldn't be making a profit and shouldn't having Microsoft partially buy in and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, if they're that's a hard call, because I don't like, they either have to believe that Sam Altman has humanity's best interest at heart, which would then put it in the right control in the right place. Because if you put it as a public company, now you have shareholders and you have to maintain profitability. So you have to push the edge more. And we know that without good regulations, companies like Monsanto and DuPont and all that kind of stuff, and the whole, they could make decisions that are profit driven and not, human and driven decisions, where, if it's run by the right person privately, you hope that they have the right the right intent at heart. So yeah, it's a hard call.
So I did read this morning, though, that OpenAI has opened it up to putting their, OpenAI on different servers throughout the world, right? And then they call it the country version or country version or something like that. I did notice that. So maybe that kind of feeds into what you're talking about on him, Sam Altman being altruistic and sharing out, OpenAI into the different countries of the world. But I did notice that it was that, and this was just really kind of buried into the news article that I read, said for democratic countries.
Okay.
Oh,
well, I guess.
Yeah. That's kind of a political agenda a little bit there, right? Not so altruistic, but anyways, I did notice that.
Yeah, but on the other side, not to go too political, do we really want Houthi rebels having an open AI version to figure out how to better bomb a ship? So maybe we do keep it away from some countries.
Gotcha. Yep, 100%. Okay, so we've talked about news. We've talked about some tools. Anyone else with any tools? Any big projects that you've been working on in the past 7 days or so for either you or your clients?
So I have one I could chime in on. So we talk a lot about AI tools. We talk a lot about, capabilities. We talk about all these different things that are changing so fast. But this past week, I thought this was an eye opener for me. I was talking to a longtime friend and client of mine, and as we were brainstorming ideas for new ways to generate business for them, we had a really deep conversation where he's an expert in his space of the different things that he offers and what he does. And then I feel strongly, after almost 20 years in the marketing industry, that I have a lot of knowledge and ideas as well to bring to the table. So this human conversation that we record with an AI tool, of course, on the Zoom calls, we record it all, which is really cool. It summarizes it. But my point is we had this 45-minute to an hour-long conversation about different ideas. And we uncovered some different things about, okay, well, what if we did this? What if we reached out to these companies to get to the end users? What if we did this with direct mail? What if we did this with email marketing? What if we did this with on-page SEO? So we had all these different ideas, and at the end of the conversation, I felt confident to tell him that, okay, let's tackle these piece by piece. And one of the big ones was, okay, in this case, he was an insurance agent. Okay, so he's not specifically a vehicle repair shop. He's an insurance agent, and we're saying, okay, if we want to be able to sell homeowners insurance, and we want to find people that need that product before they buy it, well, we wouldn't necessarily be sending them a postcard once they're in their new house because they already have that. But where I went with this is I was able to use a deep research tool, and I told him I was going to use some AI tools to uncover to expand on our ideas, and that's what we did. I had a general inquiry of what I wanted. I used a deep research tool. In this case, it was Gemini, Google Gemini, and I asked it specifically if I wanted to reach homeowners. Would I want to talk to title companies? Would I want to talk to realtors? Would I want to talk to home builders? Would I want to talk to who would I want to talk to, and how would I get to them, and what would be those strategies? And because these deep research tools are getting so smart, and they're able to really go onto the internet and scrape all this other information, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I can use this tool and the human part of it, of where we uncovered some ideas, and then turn that into actionable things. So it spit out a really large report that I read through that was like, wow. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, a year ago, to try to create something like this or to research all this, it would take you a long time, and you wouldn't get something this powerful. So I just want to point out that even though we're using AI tools and we're talking about them, but when you use AI enhances what we already are doing in life, in all aspects of our life. So it's not a replacement to humans. We can use what we uncover as humans, and then emphasize it or expand on it, or just make it such a powerful document of information that we can then act on and take it to the next level. So I just felt that that was an important piece of what I was able to do last week with an existing client, where we're using AI, but we're using brain power to start with.
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
I know ChatGPT has deep research in it. You know, I'm a heavier ChatGPT user. They recently, just in the past couple of weeks, I think, could have been a month. I don't know. You know, time flies. But you get more instances of the deep research now, right? It used to be like 2 per month or 3 per month or something like that. It's 30 now per month that you get. So you can do really deep project research for all sorts of things. And I love that idea, Brad, of going in really deep on a specific topic. You know, how do we do this kind of a thing? So awesome. That's awesome.
Dovetail on that one thing that if logic, critical thinking, first principles 101, if you really want to dive into a problem, say your business is slow right now, the market is, soft, it feels recessionary in some places, whatever business you're in, and you're trying to solve some problems and you come up with some questions. We all know that we can go down a rabbit hole and we can create some, bias in one direction, but we can also ask questions of deep research and go deep and give it a direction that it goes, yeah. It becomes a yes man kind of idea. And we've seen that. And one thing I learned recently is a really good sort of, just a logical fallacy, razor to hit against is, asking when it comes up with something, I need you to research if this claim is true. Get an answer. Now I need you to research if the opposite of that claim is actually false. Because if this claim is true, but the opposite is not false, there is way more layers of nuance in that, because it one is true doesn't mean the opposite is false. There could be so many layers that you take it down. So now let's analyze the logical consistency of both. For true, what has to be in place for this to be true? What has to be true for this marketing plan to work in the next 6 months? Okay, but now let's take the false. What has to be true for this to break? And it sounds like a lot, but if you really think that you're going to hunker down for an hour or two, have that conversation with the friend, have that breakthrough, have a board meeting, have a meeting with your team, record it, put it in, say, I now need to ask you a bunch of deep research questions against it, but I'm not going to trust you. Now let's go deeper. Now tell me, where do you break? And if you have a couple of these questions just on a sticky note, even and have a little bit of a framework of how you want to make sure you're not influencing the rabbit hole. What I found is I only learned this recently from somebody on X, and it was a really great post about sort of how to challenge the machine to make sure it's not biased. And you have a few of these frames, just a few of them on a notepad, waiting or whatever. And then it's almost like a prompt chain. Then go, okay, but this, okay, but this, okay, but that. Now take everything you just learned and summarize it with the most practical intent moving forward, now that we've broken that down and broken that apart. And what you get at the end is like professor, elite level, Mensa, brain level, information now, because you got rid of the surface, you got rid of the gloss, and you went deep to it. So just a little bit of add to what Brad said is you can do all this and then just take it another layer and take it another layer and really think it through and be so much more strategic than anybody else around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
How many of y'all have done a SWOT analysis on your company? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, right?
Not
How many
recently.
of y'all have done that?
Yeah, it hasn't been recent, but yeah.
Okay. So that was one of the things that I worked on this week was a SWOT analysis, and specifically how AI was going to affect my business in the next 12 to 18 months. And it came up with some pretty good stuff. And I used the deep research tool inside of ChatGPT in order to do that SWOT analysis. And I had it ask me some questions and prompt me, but it was a little eye-opening, right? For the marketing industry. It's obviously coming after us kind of a thing, right? Yeah. And we all know this, right? That's why we have been not only incorporating AI, but really becoming AI masters in our own respective industries, right? So anyways, that was one of the things that I did specifically, and I highly recommend that anyone listening to this do, right? have it perform a SWOT analysis on your company and have it ask you questions for what it needs in order to perform that SWOT analysis. And that's a pretty simple prompt. Use the deep research feature on pretty much every platform. I think nowadays has that. Just in the past couple of months, it seems like. But, do that. But piggyback on that, on exactly what John here has been saying. Right? Yeah. Use it in different and challenge it. Okay. Use different platforms as well to do that SWOT analysis. Okay. And have it come back with whatever it thinks, that might be your threats, especially out there, and your strengths. I mean, it's, that's part of it as well.
And I'll mention, just because I think it needs to be, we need to hear it as well as our audience needs to hear it, is that any AI will be extremely nice and make you feel extremely powerful, and it will add fluff and compliments, and you'll leave thinking, wow, I rule the world. So we appreciate your, the check mark and checks and balances that you're asking us to put in, because I too, as I've, researched my company and other of our clients' companies, it is easy to go, wow, we're doing it all right. Check, 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 not realizing the bias.
Yeah.
But if you need to feel good someday, just jump in.
It'll make you feel great.
Yeah, I'm feeling crappy today, chat. What should I do? I've actually had to ask that question. I'm having a down Sunday. What should I do? Well, John, you should probably go for a walk. Do you like nature? And then we're having a conversation. So you use it for whatever you need. But yeah, definitely understand that it's trying to be nice.
So I asked, this has been a while now, but I asked Grok a similar question. And I noticed that it also gave me a message saying, not just in the chat, but in the browser, basically, or window, was saying, Grok is not a therapist. And so I just, it was interesting to me that was so clearly that it needed to be stated based on, that question that I was asking versus a business question that I ask, and it doesn't say something like that. So
this is not medical advice if you're asking because you can get a lot of good info, but I've noticed that as well. This is not medical advice, is usually tagged on somewhere, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Ironically, and I apologize for not knowing that my source right off the bat, but when I was listening to a podcast yesterday, that's what they were saying, is that's one of the top uses, is that people use it as their therapist. So they do want to put that out there as not medical, not licensed, definitely make sure you speak. Yeah. But they said that they were surprised, is that was one of the top uses for AI.
Yeah. And a great business nugget right there. Anybody listening? Laura mentioned I was listening to a podcast. I talk to clients and say, what do you guys listen? What are you reading right now? What do you listen to in your vehicle or when you're out for a walk? What are you feeding your brain with about your industry, making your job better, your life better, whatever? Because if it's death metal music, which was the answer I got from one fellow, probably not the best business decision at, in the middle of the afternoon, driving around town in a company van with death metal screaming out there might be something that could come across. So you feed your brain better, and also, maybe the public hearing that might think differently of your business. So
yeah, love that. And I would think that if they're listening to this, then they're probably
we're preaching to the choir. Good point.
Right.
Good point. Right. You didn't find us if you're listening to death metal. So
right. We can play death metal though.
I was just going to say, all death metal aside, the one tool that will help you with spreadsheets is called thebricks.com.
Bricks.
Yeah. But that one is helpful, and I think there's a free version and a paid version, and it does other things besides spreadsheets. But I will have a full answer for you next week for the other one that literally is an LLM, and it connects to your screen and what have you. I want to say it was tied to Google Workspace. But then I was like, okay, so I don't have a definitive answer, but I will.
All right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to piggyback off of talking to AI. And that was one thing. I know we were going to talk a little bit about sales, but I think that one powerful thing from business owners, as well as from sales teams to, training up your sales team, is let them know they can talk to AI and role play. So I know years ago when we went through a lot of training, that was always the thing of grab a partner and, kind of give push back on this product or push back on this sales or this technology. And now AI can do that. Again, to the point, it will make you feel like you just sold the world. Make sure that it will challenge you. So having your sales reps especially when they're doing a task that they could still be on their phone, it's a wonderful tool to hear responses, be challenged, and practice answering those difficult questions that they may not be skilled to answer at first, but it really can help train up your team.
So a free version of that ChatGPT, ask the question, give it context. A AppSumo in, all shout out to Brad and the reminders constantly keep checking AppSumo for lifetime deals. Sell me this pen based on a book. Sell me this pen. There is an app. It's an AI app. It's got AI avatars. You give it a context. It it can sit in the background on a Zoom call, on a Google Meet, and actually tell you you're talking too much. Let the other person talk. It does all that, but it also guides you on the sell me this pen principles, right? So how you start, how you move through the conversation, and you can role play ahead of time. You can also role play a sales call afterwards and say, let's do this again. How would I have done better? And it pulls up one of their avatar who is an AI voice, but a real face talking to you on the screen as if they're another person just like this here. And it's a kind of neat one as well. I'm not sure if it's on AppSumo anymore, but I've to train up for sales calls or new sale things. I'm trying to, get a new way of selling this product or whatever. I revamped my entire sort of way I introduce our services to potential clients by going through that, going, hey, yeah, I can consult, but I should also, I should, move off onto a couple other avenues as well. And it kind of helped guide me on that as well. So I think a cool tool.
That's pretty awesome. So I have a project, right, inside of ChatGPT. That's my sales coach. And every single sales conversation, whether it is a phone call or a Zoom, goes into that, right? That I feed as a transcript. And I prep before meetings and so forth. So I have an outline of what I'm supposed to say. I don't always say it, right? Because sometimes it's a little pushier than I want to be. But it's been interesting. In fact, I was on a call yesterday, right? And we got geeking out on AI and all that kind of stuff because the owner of this roofing company is very into AI. And so I was like, oh yeah, here, let me show you my sales coach. So I pulled it in and he could see it. I was like, yeah, see when I said that right there and I said that right there, this thing is training me on what I'm supposed to be telling you, by the way. And so I pushed it over there. He's like, I need to hire you.
But think of every office, every carpet cleaning company, every all of us here, like every girl at the front of an auto part or like an auto repair shop or anything like that. Every one of those conversations should be recorded, should be, challenged to get like, what was the best conversation I had? Well, and so the business of the business owner, it gives you, just to all the business owners out there as well, you can walk up to, Nancy or Nicholas at the front desk and say, well, I was listening to your call there and right. Or you could say, you know what? The AI said you did much better on this call than that call at your weekly review. Let's aim more towards this and let's give you a score every week, how close you are to that better conversation that sells more, brings the customer into us versus somewhere else and maybe sells them more services they need or whatever. And you could have that conversation. Have it. AI is what suggested it by data and proof, not just a hunch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With medical spas, really having access to the phone calls and the emails and having AI look at all of that and then give actual feedback on how a person can improve. Like it's so many people don't think of customer service as sales, but it really is. And using AI to kind of help tease that part out of a customer service engagement or conversation can just, help people improve a lot. For my industry too, using AI as a training partner, basically, just kind of, Chris, like you were mentioning, but with estheticians, a lot of the time they want to, or they need to sell retail, they need to sell rebooking, and they need to sell upsells. But most estheticians that I know or have spoken with are not comfortable selling any of those things, really. I mean, it's more of the exception rather than the rule. And so having a sales training partner can be really beneficial to help them understand how to be able to sell and not feel smarmy doing it.
Yeah.
It builds their confidence. It 100%.
Yeah.
That practice and realizing that they're not salesy, they're being able to be very helpful. In the ag industry, when these precision techs are out working right side by side with the grower, they might say, well, we don't have a way to record that call. We don't really have a way, but they're having that conversation. And so one recommendation that we're having is when you get back in the car or truck, take your phone and just verbalize it into AI. And then that will pull out the key points, the takeaways, and the follow-ups. And it does build their confidence because they're able to take some really technical jargon and figure out how to explain it to a grower for them to lean in and go, that's what I need to upgrade my planner. That will make a difference in my field. And again, that precision technologist, I'm totally tongue-tied. Anyway, they are building, again, their confidence, and they know that they are helping that grower.
Have you ever been in front of somebody who, and I've got 3 friends in mind I know over the years, who instantly have the right metaphor and analogy that make you go, like, it's just like they take a concept and just all of a sudden it's just as simple as, some sliced bread. And I was just about to say sliced toast because I'm terrible at it. I literally, can't remember if it's up a rabbit hole, down a rabbit hole, but and there's people that that just, and it would be great to say, hey, I have this point. I always have a tough time getting it through to another person. I know the technical. What would be an analogy, a metaphor, a way of stating that, and then practice that, right? Whether that's a carpet cleaning technician in the home, because we always used to role play with our technicians and they all rolled their eyes on, like, just knock on the outside of the door. I'm going to pretend to be Mrs. Jones. We're going to walk through so that we understand how to enter a home properly, not just randomly every time, and just create a better environment through our delivering a service experience as uniformed as we possibly can get. And it would be great if you could say, hey, Flight Simulation 101, go train on that for a few hours or a few hours a day. And then we're going to do the live role play to see if you got it. And now it's not as uncomfortable, right? It's they actually got to do it like a video game in front of so build them like any business owner, build them something simple that could do a role playing kind of idea, where they could walk through it by voice and talk back and forth and present what they're going to do or something like that. And then train it live. And you probably, again, I just assume it just came, but you'd get better buy-in, even in the real world. How is a mechanic or a shop manager going to upsell the better muffler system or the, better brakes or whatever it is, or, the why you need all stainless steel spoilers and all that kind of stuff at a custom shop? Well, part of that, is understanding how to explain that to the person better in a way that they go, oh, I get that. And some people have it and some people just don't have that gift, and you could train how to get around not having it built in.
So I'm going to throw something out here, right? And this goes to the entire group, right? Meta's working really hard on these glasses things, right? And think about it, like a roofing company, right? You supply these glasses, and they're just throwing this idea out there, but they supply these glasses to their sales staff, right? And have an agent sitting in the background listening to the conversation that's happening and providing feedback real time on what they should be saying next or questions that they should be asking next.
Sounds like it's coming down the pipe. Like that's a producer on a TV show, talking in the ear of the host. Right. What
if you had something like that was like coaching your staff? Imagine the sales difference that you can make in any organization, honestly. Anyways, if you're listening to this and you're a programmer, have at it. Okay. Have at that idea.
I'm just thinking about with Brad, with mechanics, and myself with the ag tech specialist. that would be fantastic to have the glasses on underneath the equipment, looking at things versus right now they're taking photos and sending it back and forth texting. But they would be able to just be like, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm seeing. Help me out to solve this technical issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally realistic. On a simpler note, I saw an AI tool this week. It is a lifetime deal, go figure, but it's called Letterly. And what it does is it's an app on your phone, and you can also have it on your computer, but it can record what you're doing audio wise. And so we talked about sales calls. We talked about whether you're in a presentation or you're in a training or whatever it is. It will analyze everything that it's hearing. And then once you're done, you can have it summarized with AI in different formats. You can just hit the button of which way you want it to summarize it or what you want to do with that information. And it's evolving quickly, but it was worth looking at, I thought. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, what was that one of our friends, Josh, mentioned that he had one at one of the event we were at, and then Tim, that sat beside me, had the dongle that hung on his shirt. There's a couple of them that are sort of in development like that, where you just take it to events or you just record. And I love the idea of on your phone, because again, I'd never remember to bring it with me, but my phone's always with me, right? I go, turn it on, and there you go.
Yeah, I don't remember the specific ones they had, but this one, you could put it to where your phone can be in silent mode and nothing's lit up on your phone, but it's still recording it all.
Yeah. I'm
Crazy.
looking in my notes right now to figure out what that was, because I remember that, and I remember talking with a roofing company owner about that, providing that to his staff so that he could record. He had no idea what was going on in the field, right? And I'm like, well, what kind of coaching do you provide for those guys? He's like, I don't know, kind of a thing. So yeah, the technology.
Plod was one of them, just so you know. PLA. Yeah.
Plod with a P.
Can't remember the other one, but Plod was one of them. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the technology is advancing so much. I just actually looked up what the Meta glasses cost. I mean, really? They're only like $300. And I say only when this sitting in our pocket is over $1,000, right? Yeah. So that's, I mean, for if you own a company and you want your sales to do better, you want them to record and have information real time. I mean, I don't know if that is available yet, but it's coming down the pipeline. I mean, it really very fast. So anyways, just something to noodle on there.
You know what that makes me think of? I might have mentioned this before, but like I said, I'm looking at YouTube videos pretty much every day at the end of the day. And a lot of times when I'm looking at AI videos or videos about AI, if it's like 2 weeks old, I'm thinking,
you do?
I'm not even going to look at it. You know?
Right.
Old, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the old days of AI, like 3 months ago. Yeah, it's just like the dark room.
Changing like daily. There's some pretty cool people out there, like I said earlier, to follow. That these guys live and breathe it more than I do, so I can just look at what they say so that I know what's going on. So if you're a business owner and AI is new to you, or you're trying to get your head around this of utilizing it to some capacity, don't get overwhelmed by it. I mean, research some of the other people, follow us, whatever it is, but, look at what's out there and then say, okay, I'm going to try this. Start simple. You can always go big, or you can hire somebody to do a lot of this stuff, but it's so embedded now in so many aspects of life that you can do some research, whether it's, YouTube, whether it's Google, or using ChatGPT, or using some of these AI tools to say, give me a summary of the latest AI news or whatever it is. But don't be afraid of it. Try it out.
Yeah. And I mentioned this on I was invited in front of a training group to talk about a little bit of this stuff. And I said to those guys, one of the questions was, it was an open forum at the end. And well, John, where do I go? And they were older gentlemen. And John, where do I go? Is there like college courses on this? I'm like, I'm almost chuckling, just kind of remember the days of, you went to night school to kind of learn how to do, whatever. Is there college course on this? Is there somewhere, how do I learn how to use ChatGPT? You gave me a framework, crit and prompting and stuff like that. But what else can I do? And I'm going, ask ChatGPT to give you a training course on how to use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's right there. Just you ask it and it will build an entire training guide for you. And you go, cool, let's start with number one. And it'll be so happy. And you just do start with number one. It'll give you prompts, it'll give you ideas. And then you can move on to number two and it will do it with you. So yeah, there's your trainer.
And the funny thing is that I do see courses like from bigger universities and stuff like that coming across my Facebook feed about, you can take this, AI course. And I just laugh at that because going to exactly what Brad just said, if it's over 3 months old, it's outdated. Just throw it out. Right. So, even going to creating a curriculum, getting it approved, getting it through this bureaucracy, which is, higher education. No way is that anything that they are going to teach you other than maybe a framework, right? Going to be any kind of applicable.
Yeah.
I had a hard time spitting that out.
Yeah. And I, to that point, that's what, so I was exposed to, I've got college age kids, and that was one of the courses that my child was taking. And it was a pre-recorded one about social media. And that's what I was like, oh my, you're paying to attend a video recorded that is already out of date because it was recorded 2-3 semesters ago. That does not matter. It was the fact that it's out of date. It's 100% out of date. And yes, there might be some nuggets and get to, a little bit more comfortable with social media, but that made me very sad that the university could not recognize that it was obsolete.
Yeah.
Laura, you look much too young to have college age kids.
The lighting is good.
All right, we're coming up to about an hour here, so let's wrap this up. And any other things anyone wants to throw out there? All right.
No, I think we covered that. Just again, and I think we'll be saying it every time. Is there's things changing so fast. Lean in, understand this isn't going away. There was people that believed that the internet was just a fad that was going to go away. There's people that believe, and still to this day, that Bitcoin is a fad and still going to go away. No, the world is changing around us. AI, automations, tech, huge industrial revolution. It's bigger than the industrial revolution, I believe. It'll be great for humanity, and it's going to create a lot of pain and problems in the transition. So use it, understand, do that SWOT analysis in every one of your industries. How is AI and technology going to change my industry? What are the first movers going to do? The leaders going to do potentially, and what should I be worried about? So you're not left behind.
100%. And if you're afraid of it and you don't want to do it, find somebody that's into it, like some of us, and we'll help you.
Okay.